So, you're planning a future in medicine or dentistry in Pakistan. You already know that picking the right college is just a massive decision, right? Well, today, we're going to take a really close look at one of Karachi's top institutions to see exactly what it takes to get in.
Feeling a little overwhelmed by all the options and the whole application process? Yeah, that's totally normal. But don't worry, we've got you covered. This explainer is going to be your clear, step-by-step guide to everything you need to know about Jinnah Medical and Dental College. So, let's start with the basics.
All right, first up, welcome to JMDC Karachi, a true legacy of excellence. So, what's the story behind this place? Well, Jinnah Medical and Dental College, or JMDC as everyone calls it, has built a really serious reputation since it was founded.
You know, this college has a really solid history. It admitted its very first group of MBBS students way back in 1998, and those first doctors graduated in 2003. Just think about that for a second. That's more than 20 years of producing skilled doctors and dentists who are now practicing all over the world.
Okay, so being affiliated with JSMU and recognized by the PMDC is obviously crucial. But for a lot of students, this is the real game changer: global recognition. A degree from JSMU means you're eligible to take huge international exams like the USMLE in the US and the PLAB in the UK. That is a massive deal that just opens up a whole world of opportunity after you graduate.
Next up, let's help you find your fit by looking at the different degree programs. So, if you're thinking about JMDC, what can you actually study there? Let's check out the different academic paths you can take.
Here's a quick side-by-side look at the programs. You've got the 5-year MBBS, the 4-year BDS, a 5-year Doctor of Physical Therapy, and a 4-year Bachelor of Science in Nursing. Now, the key detail to notice here is how the fees are structured. For MBBS and BDS, you're looking at an annual fee, but for DPT and nursing, it's paid per semester. That's a really important thing to keep in mind when you're planning your finances.
Okay, Section 3, your path to admission. Now this is the part everybody really wants to know. How in the world do you get in? Let's break down all the requirements and, most importantly, that merit formula.
So, what are the absolute core requirements to even be considered a strong applicant? Well, the college is actually very clear about its criteria. Let's look at the checklist for their most competitive programs.
For these super competitive MBBS and BDS programs, here's your checklist. You need at least 60% in your FSC pre-medical exams, or the equivalent. You also have to score a minimum of 55% on the MDCAT. And lastly, you've got to be between 17 and 25 years old. It's pretty straightforward, but hitting these minimums is non-negotiable.
So how does JMDC actually calculate your final merit score? It all comes down to the weighting. Your MCAT score makes up a full 50% of your total score. That's huge. Your FSC or A levels are the next biggest chunk at 40%, and your SSC or O levels rounded out at 10%. The takeaway here is crystal clear. A strong MCAT score is the single most important thing in this process. Strategically, that's where you need to put most of your focus.
So, feeling ready to apply? The great news is the process is all online, and it's probably more straightforward than you think. Let's just walk through it together, step by step. Here is your 6-step guide. First, you create an account on the JMDC admission portal. Then, you fill in your details, upload your documents, and pay the 1,500 rupee application fee. After you take the MDCAT, the final step is just to keep an eye on the portal for the merit lists to see where you stand. See? Totally manageable. Okay, get your calendar out right now because these are the dates you absolutely cannot miss. The MCAT test is scheduled for January 25th. Your final application has to be in by February 15th. And then, the merit lists, the big moment of truth, will be announced sometime in March. Seriously, don't let these dates sneak up on you.
Look, a medical education is a huge investment. So let's talk numbers. We're going to look at the tuition fees, and even more importantly, the financial support systems that JMDC has in place to help you out.
For their main MBBS program, the annual tuition fee is 1.8 million Pakistani rupees. Now, I know seeing that number can be a bit daunting, but it's really important to know that there are ways to get financial support.
JMDC basically offers two main kinds of support. First, you've got merit-based scholarships. These are for students with incredible academic records. We're talking 75% or higher, and they can cover up to 100% of your tuition. Then there are need-based scholarships, which are supported by programs like the HEC for talented students who are facing financial challenges. So there's help available for both the top academic performers and for those who need it most.
So, beyond all the academics and the admissions process,
What's it actually like to be a student at JMDC? Let's talk about the experience and what kind of outcomes you can expect.
You know, I think this quote from a recent graduate really says it all. Dr. Zainab Khan points out two of JMDC's biggest strengths: the amazing hands-on clinical training at their hospitals and the incredible guidance from the faculty. This is exactly the kind of real-world preparation that sets you up for a truly successful career.
So, after looking at the history, the programs, the whole process, the real question is, are you ready to begin your journey? Your future in healthcare is waiting for you, and JMDC could be the perfect place to start. For all the official details and to get your application started, make sure you head over to their website. We really hope this guide was helpful. Good luck.